Ashley believed her family was her safe haven, her unshakable foundation. But for 3 years, they all hid a devastating secret. Her own sister stole the man Ashley loved, and the entire family covered up this betrayal. The mother who should have protected her became complicit in her greatest pain. The father who should have defended her chose silence. When Ashley discovered the truth in the most brutal way, she had to make the bravest decision of her life. Some betrayals come with signs, warnings we ignore because we don't want to believe them. Others come like a punch in the gut, knocking the air out of our lungs. Ashley lived for 30 years believing that family was everything, that blood was stronger than anything, that her mother would always be by her side, that her younger sister was her best friend, that family love was unconditional. But life has a cruel way of teaching us that not all that glitters is gold, and not everyone who smiles at you has your best interests at heart. This is the story of a woman who discovered that the greatest betrayals don't come from strangers, but from those who sleep under the same roof. It's about choices, consequences, and the courage to face the truth, even when it destroys everything you believed in. But tell me, which city and country are you watching from? Leave a comment. Ashley woke up that Tuesday like any other day. Her alarm went off at 6 a.m., she made coffee, checked her work emails, and absent-mindedly scrolled through her social media feed while sipping her first cup of the day. It was a normal, simple, predictable routine. Nothing at that moment indicated her life was about to fall apart. She stopped scrolling when she saw the photo. It was an old image, posted by a distant cousin she barely spoke to. The caption read, "I can't believe it's already been 3 years. It feels like yesterday when you told us the news. I can't wait for the big day, Brittany." Ashley felt her heart race. 3 years. What news? What a big day. The photo showed a large group of people at a family barbecue. There must have been 20 people there, all smiling, around a table laden with food. Ashley zoomed in, searching for Brittany in the crowd. There she was, in the right corner of the photo, smiling radiantly. And on her sister's finger, even in the distant, crowded photo, something that looked like a ring gleamed. Ashley zoomed in on Brittany's hand. It was an engagement ring. Ashley felt her stomach churn. That ring had been there, on Brittany's finger, for 3 years, and she knew nothing about it. She wasn't even at that barbecue. When was that? Why wasn't she invited? She clicked on her sister's profile. Brittany had always been more reserved on social media, posting little, keeping everything private. But now, looking closely, Ashley began to notice details she had previously overlooked. Photos with friends, where someone cropped the image right next to Brittany. Restaurant check-ins where there were always 2 people. Comments from aunts and cousins saying things like, "You two are perfect together," and "He's amazing." How did she not see this before? How was she so blind? Ashley picked up the phone and called Brittany. The call went straight to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail again. She texted, "Brittany, we need to talk, now." The minutes dragged on like hours. Ashley paced the living room, her coffee forgotten on the table, growing cold. She called her mother. Carol answered on the 3rd ring, her voice calm and casual as always. "Good morning, dear. How are you?" "Mom, is Brittany engaged?" Ashley asked, getting straight to the point. There was silence on the other end of the line, a heavy, charged silence that said more than 1,000 words. "Ashley, Carol began, but her voice broke. "How long, Mom? How long have you been hiding this from me?" "Daughter, it's not like that. Let me explain." "How long?" Ashley repeated, her voice firmer now, demanding an answer. 3 years, Carol admitted, almost in a whisper. The ground seemed to open up beneath Ashley's feet. 3 years, 1,095 days. Her sister had been engaged for 3 years, and no one had told her. It wasn't an oversight. It wasn't a lack of opportunity. It was a deliberate choice, a purposeful exclusion. "What do you mean 3 years, Mom? How did you manage to hide this from me for 3 years? I'll see you. I'll go to your house. We'll talk. Ashley, please come over to my house. We can talk in person. This is complicated. Complicated. Complicated is hiding a 3-year engagement from your own daughter. Complicated is the whole family knowing about something except me. What am I to you, Mom? A stranger. Tears began to stream down Ashley's face. They weren't tears of sadness yet, but of anger, of shock, of utter incomprehension. I'll be right there, Ashley said, hanging up before her mother could respond. She grabbed her keys and purse and slammed the door. The drive to her parents' house, 20 minutes away, seemed to take forever. Every red light was torture. Every minute stuck in traffic fueled more questions in her head. Why? Why did they hide it? What had she done to deserve this? Was she such a horrible sister? Such a problematic daughter? What justified such exclusion? When Ashley finally pulled up to the house where she grew up, where she had so many childhood memories, where she felt she had been loved unconditionally, everything seemed different. The house was the same, with the same white windows, the same manicured garden, the same solid wood door. But for Ashley, this place had become foreign territory. She rang the doorbell. Carol opened the door almost immediately, as if she'd been waiting on the other side. Her mother's eyes were red and puffy. She'd been crying. Ashley, come in, please. Ashley entered, but didn't sit down. He stood in the living room, arms crossed, waiting for an explanation that made sense, waiting for something to justify the unjustifiable. Where's Brittany? Ashley asked. She's coming. I called her after we hung up. And the father? At work. But he knows you're here. Ashley gave a bitter laugh. Of course you do. Everyone knows everything in this family, except me. Carol sat on the couch, her hands shaking slightly. Daughter, I know you're upset. Upset? Ashley interrupted. Mom, upset is when someone forgets your birthday. Upset is when someone cancels dinner. That's not being upset. That's feeling like your own family betrayed you. The word hung in the air. Betrayal, heavy, definitive, true. And Ashley didn't even know the worst was yet to come. She didn't yet know who her fiancé was. She didn't yet know the betrayal ran much deeper than she imagined. She didn't yet know the man who put that ring on Brittany's finger was someone she knew very well. Someone who had already put a ring on his own finger, years ago. Now tell me, have you ever found out something the whole family knew about except you? How did you react? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to our channel using the subscribe button or the QR code that appears on your screen, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any exciting stories like this. Carol took a deep breath, her hands clasped in her lap, her eyes fixed on the floor. Ashley had never seen her mother so nervous, so uncomfortable, and that only made the knot in her stomach grow worse. Speak, Mom. I'm waiting, Ashley said, her voice steady despite the internal tremor. Ashley, you need to understand that we just wanted to protect you. Protect? Protect from what? From knowing that my sister is engaged? What logic is that? Carol looked up, and Ashley saw something there she'd never seen before. Guilt. Pure, raw guilt written all over the face of the woman who brought her into this world. It's not just about the engagement, Ashley. It's about who the groom is. Ashley's heart skipped a beat. What do you mean by that? Before Carol could respond, the front door opened. Brittany walked in, her eyes wide, her face pale. She stopped in the hall, staring at Ashley as if she were seeing a ghost. Hi, Ash, Brittany said, her voice weak. Hi, Brittany. Or should I say, hi, bride? Ashley replied, the sarcasm cutting like a blade. Brittany swallowed hard and walked into the room, sitting next to her mother. The two of them seemed like a team, united, while Ashley stood alone on the other side. Ashley, I can explain. So explain. Explain how you've been engaged for 3 years and I didn't know. Explain how the whole family knew and no one thought it was important to tell me. Explain, Brittany, because I really don't understand. Brittany looked to Carol for help. Her mother nodded encouragingly. The groom, he Ashley, it's Matthew. The world stopped. For a moment, Ashley thought she'd misheard, that her ears were playing tricks on her. Matthew. It couldn't be her Matthew. It couldn't be the man she'd spent 3 years of her life with, the man she loved, the man who made her believe in marriage, in a future, in forever. Matthew, Ashley repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. Matthew, my Matthew. He's not yours anymore, Ashley. He hasn't been for 4 years, Brittany said, and there was a hint of defensiveness in her voice. Ashley felt her legs weaken. She leaned against the wall, trying to process what she was hearing. Matthew and Brittany, her sister and her ex-boyfriend, together, engaged for 3 years. When? Ashley asked. When did you guys start? Brittany looked down. About 6 months after you guys broke up. 6 months, Ashley repeated, her voice emotionless. You waited 6 months. We didn't plan it, Ashley. It just happened. We met by chance. We talked. And you fell in love, Ashley finished, her voice thick with bitterness. How beautiful. How romantic. My sister and my ex-boyfriend. It's like a fairy tale, isn't it? Ashley, don't be like that, Carol intervened. Don't be like that. Ashley turned to her mother, her eyes burning. What do you want me to be, Mom? Happy? Do you want me to say congratulations, to hug my sister and wish her well? I want you to understand that they love each other, and that life goes on. You and Matthew broke up 4 years ago. You've moved on. Why can't they move on too? Ashley gave a humorless laugh. But moving on is one thing. Moving on with my sister is another entirely, and hiding it from me for 3 years. That's not moving on, Mom. That's cheating. We didn't tell you because we knew you would react like this, Brittany said. React like this. React how Brittany, like someone who was betrayed by her own sister? Excuse me if I'm not throwing confetti and celebrating. I didn't cheat on you, Ashley. You and Matthew were already broken up. But you're my sister. You're my sister, Ashley screamed. And it was the first time she'd raised her voice. Of all the men in the world, you had to be with my ex. You couldn't find anyone else. I fell in love, Ashley. I didn't choose who I fell in love with. But you chose to hide. You chose to lie. You all chose to exclude me. Carol stood up, trying to approach Ashley, but she backed away. Don't touch me, Ashley said, her voice breaking. You lied to me. For 3 years. 3 years of lies. We didn't lie, Ashley. We just didn't tell. Carol tried to justify. A lie by omission is still a lie, Mom. Ashley took a deep breath, trying to control the tears that threatened to fall. She wasn't going to cry in front of them. She wasn't going to give them the satisfaction. What about the wedding? Ashley asked. When is it? Brittany and Carol exchanged glances. In 6 weeks, Brittany replied. 6 weeks, Ashley repeated. And I guess I wasn't invited. The silence that followed was deafening. You were going to be invited, Ashley, Carol began. But what? But I thought it best not to send you the invitation, Carol admitted, and Ashley felt like she'd been punched in the gut. You canceled my invitation, Ashley asked in disbelief. You, Mom, canceled my invitation to my own sister's wedding. I was trying to avoid exactly this drama, this pain. I thought it would be best for everyone. Better for everyone or better for you? Ashley asked, looking from Carol to Brittany. You didn't want me to ruin your perfect day, did you? You didn't want your troublesome sister, your annoying ex-girlfriend, making your guests uncomfortable? It's not like that, Ashley, Brittany tried, but her voice sounded weak, lacking conviction. Ashley looked at the 2 women before her, the mother who should have stood by her side, the sister who should have been her best friend, and all she felt was a deep pain, a betrayal beyond words. I'm leaving, Ashley said, grabbing her bag. Ashley, wait. Let's talk more. Let's work this out, Carol pleaded. Resolve? Mom, there's nothing to resolve. You made your choices. You hid them from me. You lied. You canceled my invitation. You made it very clear where I am on this family's priority list. Ashley walked to the door, But before she left, she turned around one last time. "Enjoy your wedding, enjoy your perfect day, without me to ruin it." And with that, Ashley left, closing the door behind her. But one thing was clear in her mind as she drove back home, the tears finally falling freely. They thought they were rid of her. They thought she would just accept it and disappear. But Ashley was just beginning to process all that betrayal. And something inside her, something she hadn't even known existed, began to awaken. A determination, a need to be seen, to not be erased. Ashley arrived home and went straight to her bedroom. She opened the closet and pulled out a shoebox, covered in dust, tucked away in the back. It had been years since she'd opened that box. It had been years since she'd tried to forget what was inside. But now, she needed to remember. Inside the box were photos. Dozens of photos of her and Matthew. Photos of trips, dinners, simple moments like watching movies on the couch. In every photo, they looked happy. Truly happy. Ashley snapped a photo of them on a beach. It was a trip they took to California 3 years into their relationship. Matthew had his arm around her, and they were both smiling at the camera with the kind of smile only people truly in love have. It was on this trip that he first told her he wanted to marry her. They were sitting on the sand, watching the sunset, and Matthew turned to her and said, "One day, Ashley, I'm going to put a ring on your finger, and you'll be mine forever." She believed him. With every fiber of her being, she believed. Their relationship was intense from the start. They met at a mutual friend's party, and their connection was immediate. Matthew was funny, thoughtful, and ambitious. He worked as an engineer at a large company, had plans for the future, and was the kind of man any woman would proudly introduce to her parents. And that's exactly what Ashley did. She took Matthew to meet her family after 6 months of dating. Carol adored him. Richard did too, and Brittany, who was only 21 at the time, seemed to like him too. She was always friendly with Matthew, always asking questions about his work, always laughing at his jokes at Sunday dinner. Ashley never suspected anything. Why would she? Brittany was her younger sister, practically a child in her eyes. But now, looking back, Ashley began to remember little details. The way Brittany always fixed her hair when Matthew arrived. How she always offered to make his dish first at family gatherings. How she always found excuses to stay in the same conversation when Matthew was talking. Were they signs? Or was Ashley seeing things that weren't there, trying to find explanations for the inexplicable? Ashley put the photo aside and picked up another. It was from their 3rd anniversary. Matthew had prepared a surprise dinner at home, with candles, music, everything perfect. That night, he told her he loved her more than anything in the world. 6 months later, he broke up with her. Ashley still remembered that day as if it were yesterday. They were in his apartment, and Matthew was acting strange and distant. When she asked what was going on, he said they needed to talk. "I don't think this is working anymore, Ashley," he said, not looking her in the eye. What? What are you talking about?" "We're fine," she replied, completely in shock. "No, we're not. I don't feel the same anymore. I think we need to go our separate ways." Ashley begged for an explanation. She begged him to tell her what had changed, what she had done wrong. But Matthew gave no answers. He just kept saying it wasn't the same anymore, that he needed space, that it was best for both of them. She left his apartment that night, heartbroken. It took months for her to begin to heal. Months of therapy, of crying, of sleepless nights. Her family was her support during that time. Carol came to her house almost every day, bringing food, chatting. Brittany sent funny messages trying to cheer her up. Richard called to see if she needed anything. Or at least that's what Ashley thought. Now she realized that maybe it was guilt. Maybe they were trying to make up for what was happening in the shadows. Because 6 months after the breakup, Matthew and Brittany started seeing each other. Was it really casual, as Brittany said, or was it planned? Were they already talking when Ashley was still with Matthew? Ashley felt a shiver run down her spine. She didn't want to think about it. She didn't want to imagine that her sister and Matthew might have started something while she was still in the relationship. But the doubt was there, planted, growing. Ashley continued flipping through the photos, and then found something that made her heart sink. It was a photo from a Christmas dinner 4 years ago. The whole family was there, including Matthew. It was the last Christmas he spent with them before the breakup. In the photo, Ashley was sitting next to him, smiling, and across the table was Brittany, looking directly at Matthew. Ashley had never noticed it before. But now, looking at that photo, she saw it. She saw the way Brittany looked at him. It wasn't a casual glance. It was a look of interest, of desire, maybe. How long had this been going on? How long had Brittany had feelings for Matthew while he was still Ashley's boyfriend? The questions kept coming, and with each question, the pain grew. It wasn't just the pain of losing Matthew. It was the pain of realizing that her own sister, her own family, had chosen him over her. Ashley put the photos back in the box and closed the lid. But she didn't put the box back in the closet. Not this time. She left it there, on the bed, as a reminder. A reminder that she wasn't crazy. A reminder that she had truly loved. A reminder that she deserved more than what she was given. And then something began to form in Ashley's mind. An idea. A decision. If they thought they could simply erase her from history, simply pretend she didn't exist, they were sorely mistaken. Ashley picked up her phone and opened her calendar. 6 weeks until the wedding. 6 weeks to decide what to do. But deep down, Ashley already knew. She was going to that wedding. Invited or not. She was going to be there, and they were going to have to face her. Because Ashley was no longer going to be erased. No longer was she going to be the convenient sister who disappears when it gets inconvenient. She was going to be seen. She was going to be heard. And Brittany and Matthew's perfect wedding would have an unexpected guest. In the days that followed, Ashley became a detective. She needed to know the whole truth. She couldn't simply accept the summary version Brittany and Carol had given her. There was more to the story, she was sure. Ashley started with social media. She spent hours analyzing Brittany's profile, going back years. Brittany was always careful, never posting obvious photos with Matthew, but there were traces. There were always traces. In a post 2.5 years ago, Brittany had checked into an Italian restaurant downtown. "Best dinner of my life," the caption read. In the comments, a friend asked, "With who?" And Brittany responded with just a heart emoji. Ashley Googled the restaurant. It was the same place she and Matthew used to go, their favorite place, the place he took her on their first date. Brittany took Matthew there, to their place. Ashley kept searching. She found a photo of a weekend in a mountain cabin, posted 2 years ago. The caption read, "Sometimes you just need to disconnect from the world." The photo showed only the mountains and a cup of coffee. But in the comments, again, her friends asked for details. And again, Brittany was vague. "Just enjoying the peace?" she replied. Ashley picked up the phone and called her best friend, Jennifer. "Jen, do you remember that weekend my family said they were going to a mountain cabin a couple of years ago?" "I remember. You were upset because they didn't invite you. You said it was just for your parents and Brittany." "Exactly. Do you think Matthew was there?" Jennifer was silent for a moment. "Ash, why are you touching that?" "Because I need to know, Jen. I need to know how long they lied to me." "Okay, let me make some calls. I know people who know people. I'll find out." 3 hours later, Jennifer called back. "Ash, I talked to Melissa, your cousin's friend. She said there was an engagement party that weekend. Small, just close family. And yes, Matthew was there." Ashley felt her stomach drop. "Engaged? It's been 2 years?" "Yeah. Looks like they got engaged a lot sooner than you thought. The big party, the one that leaked on social media, was just a renewal of vows, something like that." Ashley hung up and sat on the living room floor, processing the information. They'd been engaged for 2 years, not 3. The timeline didn't match what Brittany had said. Either there were more lies, or Ashley was misunderstanding everything. She called her father. Richard answered on the second ring. "Ashley, daughter, how are you?" "Dad, I need honest answers, without protecting anyone, without holding anything back. Can you do that for me?" Richard sighed. "I'll try. When did Brittany and Matthew start dating again? And don't give me that 6 month after my breakup story. I want the truth." There was a long pause. Ashley could hear her father's heavy breathing on the other end. "They started seeing each other about 4 months after you and Matthew broke up," Richard finally admitted. "At first, it was just conversations, coffee, nothing serious. At least that's what Brittany said. But I think it quickly turned into something more." "And when did you find out?" "About 2 months after they started seeing each other, Brittany told her mom first. She was terrified of her reaction, so her mom suggested they not tell you until she was sure it was serious." "And when did it become serious, Dad? When did it become something worth telling me?" "Ashley, it wasn't like that. The more time passed, the harder it became to tell you. It snowballed. We knew you were going to be hurt, so we kept putting it off, and putting it off, until it became this huge secret. And no one thought that the longer it took, the worse it would get. We thought, God knows I told your mother this 1,000 times, but she was convinced she was protecting you. That if you didn't know, you wouldn't suffer." "Protecting me?" Ashley gave a humorless laugh. "Dad, you hurt me more than Matthew ever could. He broke up with me. It hurt, but I got over it. But you lied. For years. You chose her over me." "It wasn't like that, Ashley. We love you both equally." "No, Dad, you don't. Because if you did, you would have been honest with me. You would have given me the chance to process, to accept, to move forward the right way. But you took that away from me. You treated me like I was a child who couldn't handle the truth." Richard was silent. There was nothing to say. Ashley was right, and he knew it. Was anyone else involved in this?" Ashley asked. "Did anyone else in the family know?" "Everyone knew. Ashley. Your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. Your mother asked that no one tell you anything. She said it was for your own good." Ashley felt tears burn in her eyes. Everyone knew. At every family dinner, every party, every gathering, everyone knew her secret. And everyone chose to lie to her. Everyone chose to protect Brittany and Matthew and leave Ashley in the dark. "Thanks for being honest, Dad. Finally." "Ashley, I'm so sorry. I really am. I should have been more insistent that we tell you from the beginning." "Yes, he should have. But he didn't. And now we have to deal with the consequences." Ashley hung up and looked at the calendar on the wall. 5.5 weeks until the wedding. She picked up a red pen and circled the date. She was going to need a dress, a beautiful dress. A dress that would make everyone look at her when she walked into that party. Because if they wanted to hide her, she was going to make sure she was impossible to ignore. Ashley opened her laptop and started browsing dress shops. She didn't know exactly what she was planning. She didn't have all the details yet. But one thing was certain. Brittany and Matthew's wedding would be unforgettable. For all the right or wrong reasons, it was still up for grabs. Ashley couldn't stop. It was as if once she started searching, she couldn't stop. Each new discovery was a stab in the back, but she kept digging, needing to know everything. She created a fake Instagram account, a completely anonymous profile with a generic photo and no followers. And with this account, she began following Brittany's friends, cousins, and co-workers, people she knew posted about their social lives. And that's how Ashley found the treasure, or rather, the mine of pain. A friend of Brittany's named Sophie had a profile full of party and date photos. Ashley started scrolling back 2-3 years, and there they were, Matthew and Brittany, in dozens of photos that never appeared on Brittany's own profile. There was a photo of a surprise birthday. Brittany was blowing out the candles on a cake, and Matthew stood behind her, his arms around her waist, smiling. The date of the photo, 2 years and 8 months ago. Ashley remembered that birthday. Brittany said she was going to celebrate with just her friends. Carol even commented to Ashley, "Let the girl enjoy herself with her friends. She's growing up." And Ashley, as always, believed her. But Matthew was there. At the birthday party, that was just for friends. Matthew was there, hugging Brittany, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Ashley kept searching. She found a Halloween photo from 2 years ago. Matthew was dressed as a vampire, and Brittany was dressed as a vampire. Matching costumes. They were at a party, surrounded by friends, all laughing. Ashley enlarged the photo and saw their fingers intertwined. That same Halloween, Ashley had asked her mom if they were going to do something as a family. Carol said no, that Brittany had plans with friends and that she and Richard were going to stay home and watch movies. Ashley spent that Halloween alone in the apartment, eating chocolates and watching TV shows, feeling a little lonely, but thinking it was okay because the family was busy. But they weren't. They were hiding Matthew. Each photo Ashley found was like peeling off a layer of skin. It hurt more than she thought possible. I had a Thanksgiving photo. Matthew was sitting at the table with Brittany's family, laughing at something Richard had said. Ashley had gone to spend Thanksgiving at the family's house, but when she arrived, they said they'd changed plans at the last minute and were doing something simpler, just the parents and Brittany, that it wasn't worth Ashley driving all the way there. Ashley went to Jennifer's house that day. She ate reheated turkey and pretended everything was fine. But now she saw the truth. They had planned that Thanksgiving with Matthew, and they had lied to her to keep her away. How many times did this happen? How many holidays? How many Sundays? How many times was Ashley deliberately excluded so Matthew could be present? Ashley found travel photos. Matthew and Brittany on a beach, apparently in the Bahamas or somewhere in the Caribbean. The two were holding hands, walking on the sand. Sophie's caption read, "Best trip with the best couple." And there were several other people in the photos. Brittany's cousins, family friends. Everyone there, everyone in the know, everyone in on the secret. Ashley remembered when Brittany returned from that trip. She was tan, happy, and had a sparkle in her eyes. And when Ashley asked how it went, Brittany said, "It was great. I went with some friends. We had a great time." Lie. All lies. Ashley continued scrolling through her feed and then came across something that made her gasp. It was a short video posted a year ago. In the video, Matthew was kneeling on a beach at sunset, and Brittany stood in front of him, her hands on her face, crying with emotion. It was a marriage proposal. A beautiful, romantic proposal, with a violinist playing in the background and rose petals scattered on the sand. Ashley watched the video 3 times. Each time it hurt more. Not because she still loved Matthew. She was over him, had moved on. The pain wasn't for him. The pain was for Brittany. For seeing her sister, the person who should have been her best friend, her confidant, her life partner, living this parallel life, this secret life, while lying to Ashley's face. And everyone applauded. In the video's comments, Ashley saw aunts commenting, "Beautiful," cousins commenting, "Best couple," friends commenting, "Finally," as if it were the most normal thing in the world, as if there were nothing wrong with the situation. Ashley closed her laptop. She had seen enough, more than enough. The pain had transformed into something else now, into determination, into strength, into a need to regain control of the narrative. She wasn't the pathetic victim they thought she was. She wasn't going to hide. She wasn't going to disappear. She wasn't going to make things easy for them. Ashley picked up her phone and texted Jennifer, "I need you tomorrow. Let's go dress shopping." Jennifer immediately replied, "For what?" "For a wedding." Ashley could imagine Jennifer's surprise, but she didn't explain anything further. Jennifer would understand when they were in the store. Ashley put away her laptop and went to her bedroom. She lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling, her mind racing with plans, possibilities, scenarios. Part of her wondered if she was doing the right thing. If it wouldn't be better to just let it go, cut off contact with her family, move on without looking back. But the other part, the part that had been betrayed and excluded for years, knew she had to do this. Not for revenge, not for drama, but because she deserved to be seen, deserved to be recognized, deserved to exist, even if it was inconvenient for them. And at the wedding, in front of everyone, Ashley would finally exist. She would finally stop being the dirty secret everyone was hiding. She was going to wear her best dress, hold her head high, and walk into that party. And they were going to have to face it. Ashley woke up on Saturday with a clear mission. Jennifer arrived at her apartment at 10 in the morning, with 2 cups of coffee and a curious expression on her face. "So, are you going to explain to me what this wedding is?" Jennifer asked as soon as she walked in. Ashley told her everything, every detail: Matthew, Brittany, the 3 years of lies, the canceled invitation, the photos you discovered. Jennifer listened silently, her eyes widening with each new revelation. "Ashley, this is insane," Jennifer said when she finished. "Your own family did this to you." "He did, and now I'm going to do something they don't expect. I'm going to show up at the wedding." "Are you sure about this? This could cause a huge scandal." "I know, but you know what else could cause a scandal? 3 years of lies, an entire family covering up a relationship, a mother canceling her own daughter's invitation. If anyone should be worried about scandal, it's them, not me." Jennifer smiled. "Then let's find the perfect dress for you to cause the biggest scandal of your life." They visited 5 stores that morning. Ashley tried on dresses of every style, color, and length. But nothing felt right. She needed something special, something that would make people stop and stare, something that said, "I'm here and you can't ignore me." At the 6th store, Ashley found it. It was a long, deep red, almost wine-colored dress. The fabric was fluid and elegant, with a low back that was daring without being vulgar. When Ashley tried it on and looked in the mirror, she saw a version of herself she hadn't seen in years. Confident, powerful, beautiful. "That's the dress," Jennifer said, and Ashley nodded. Over the next few days, Ashley planned every detail. She discovered, through Sophie, Brittany's friend's public profile, that the wedding would be held at an elegant ballroom downtown. The ceremony would begin at 5 p.m., followed by the reception. Ashley decided not to attend the ceremony. It would be too intrusive, interrupting the vows. But the reception? The reception was where everyone would be relaxed, celebrating, and happy. It was where her presence would make the biggest impact. She made an appointment at the salon for her wedding day. Hair, makeup, nails, everything was impeccable. If she was going to show up, she was going to look stunning. Ashley also mentally rehearsed what she would say if someone confronted her. She wouldn't be aggressive, she wouldn't yell or make a scene. She would simply be there, head held high, reminding everyone that she existed. 3 weeks before the wedding, Carol called. Ashley hesitated before answering, but finally accepted the call. "Ashley, daughter, how are you?" Carol asked, her voice cautious. "I'm fine, Mom. I was thinking, maybe we could talk again. Calmly, sort things out before the wedding. There's nothing to solve, Mom. You made your choices. I'm making mine." "What does this mean?" Ashley almost told him. She almost said she'd show up at the wedding, but she decided the surprise would be better. "It means I'm moving forward with my life. My way." Carol sighed. "Ashley, I'm really sorry. I know I hurt you. I just wanted you to know that." "Thank you for saying that, Mom. But apologies don't change what was done." "I know. But I hope one day you can forgive me. Forgive us all. Maybe someday. But not today." Ashley hung up, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Part of her still loved her mother, still wanted the relationship they'd had before. But another part knew things would never be the same again. Trust had been broken, and broken trust can't be repaired with simple apologies. 2 weeks before the wedding, Ashley received a text from Brittany. "Ash, I know things are tough between us, but you're still my sister. I would love for you to be there at my wedding, even if you don't approve, even if you're mad. I miss you." Ashley read the message 3 times. Was there sincerity in it? Or was it just guilt? Or fear that Ashley might do something to ruin her perfect day? She didn't answer. The week of the wedding, Ashley barely slept. She stayed up late, staring at the red dress hanging in the closet, wondering if she was doing the right thing. Jennifer came to visit her 2 days before the wedding. "Are you still going to do this?" Jennifer asked. "I will. I need to." "Okay, then I'll go with you." "You don't have to, Jen. This is my battle." "Exactly. And that's why you won't fight alone. I'll be there by your side. If you're going to walk into that room with your head held high, you'll have at least one person who supports you completely." Ashley hugged her friend gratefully. Knowing she wouldn't be completely alone gave her the courage she needed. The night before the wedding, Ashley took her dress out of her closet and laid it out on the bed. Next to it, she placed the high heels she'd bought, the small, elegant handbag, and the understated but beautiful jewelry. She looked at herself in the bedroom mirror. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, she would no longer be the forgotten sister, the excluded daughter, the convenient ex-girlfriend who disappeared. Tomorrow, Ashley would reclaim her place, not as a guest, not as part of the perfect family, but as herself, complete, present, impossible to ignore. She took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest. "Are you ready for me, Brittany?" Ashley murmured to her reflection. "Because I'm ready for you." And for the first time in weeks, Ashley smiled. A smile of determination, a smile of courage, a smile of someone who was about to change everything. The day dawned bright and sunny, a perfect day for a wedding. Ashley woke at 9 in the morning, despite having only slept a few hours. Nerves had kept her awake most of the night, but now, with the sunlight streaming through the window, she felt a strange calm take over. She took a long shower, letting the hot water soothe her tense muscles. As she soaped herself, Ashley thought about everything that had led her to this moment. The lies, the exclusions, the years of being treated like she didn't matter. But today, that changed. Today, she mattered. Ashley stepped out of the shower and began to calmly get ready. She had scheduled her salon appointment for 2 in the afternoon, which gave her time to have a leisurely breakfast and gather her thoughts. She made herself scrambled eggs and toast, but could barely eat. Her stomach was churning with anxiety and anticipation. Jennifer called around 11. "How are you?" Jennifer asked. "Nervous, but determined. I'll pick you up at 4:30, okay? We'll get there around 6, when the party's already starting." "Perfect. Thanks for doing this with me, Jen. Always, friend, always." At 2 o'clock sharp, Ashley was at the salon. The hairdresser created soft, elegant waves in her hair, letting it fall naturally down her back. The makeup artist did a great job, creating a sophisticated look with bold eyes and nude lipstick that perfectly complemented her red dress. When Ashley looked in the salon mirror, she saw a transformed woman, not physically, but internally. There was a strength in her eyes that hadn't been there before, a determination, a refusal to remain invisible. Back home, Ashley donned the red dress. The fabric glided over her body like silk, perfectly draping every curve. She added the simple yet elegant silver earrings and the delicate necklace that had belonged to her grandmother. She looked at herself in the full-length mirror. The dress was stunning. The deep red contrasted beautifully with her skin tone, and the slit in the back added a touch of daring. Ashley took a deep breath. "You can do this," she told her reflection. "You're strong. You deserve to be seen." At 4:30, Jennifer rang the doorbell. When Ashley opened the door, Jennifer's mouth dropped open. "Oh my God, Ashley, you look absolutely stunning." "Thank you. You look beautiful too." Jennifer wore an elegant navy blue dress, appropriate for a wedding, but understated enough to not draw attention. Today, all the attention needed to be on Ashley. The two of them got into Jennifer's car. During the drive to the reception hall, Ashley sat in silence, staring out the window, watching the city pass by. She thought about all the times she'd been left out, all the lies she'd heard, all the times her family had chosen Brittany and Matthew over her. But she also thought about her strength, how she'd survived the breakup with Matthew, how she'd rebuilt her life, how she'd learned to stand on her own 2 feet. "Do you want me to stay by your side all the time?" Jennifer asked, breaking the silence. "No, I need to do this alone, but I need you to be there, you know." as support, in case I need it. I will be, always. At 6 o'clock, they parked a few blocks from the ballroom. Ashley didn't want to arrive too early, but neither did she want to arrive too late. She wanted to arrive when the party was already in full swing, when everyone was relaxed, when no one was expecting anything out of the ordinary. Ashley and Jennifer walked slowly to the ballroom. With each step, Ashley felt her heart pound. She could hear the music coming from inside the ballroom, could see the festive lights through the windows, could imagine Brittany inside, in her wedding dress, smiling happily, unaware of what was about to happen. "Last chance to change your mind," Jennifer said softly as they reached the door. Ashley looked at her friend and smiled. There's no turning back now. They entered the ballroom lobby. A uniformed attendant stood at the entrance, checking the guest list. "Name, please?" he asked politely. "Ashley," she replied, her voice firm. The clerk checked the list, ran his finger over the names, and frowned. "Last name?" Ashley gave the family's last name. The clerk double-checked. "Sorry, miss, but I can't find your name on the list. I know, my invitation was canceled, but I'm the bride's sister." The clerk was clearly uncomfortable. "Well, I can't let in anyone who's not on the list. That's the rules." Ashley was about to insist when she heard a voice behind her. "It's okay. She can come in." Ashley turned and saw Richard, her father, standing there. He was wearing a tuxedo, a flower in his lapel, his eyes tired and sad. "Dad," Ashley said. "Ashley, you look beautiful." "Thanks." Richard looked at the clerk. "She's my daughter. She can come in." The clerk nodded, still looking unsure, but walked away. Richard approached Ashley. "Are you sure about this, daughter?" he asked softly. "I do. I needed to be here, Dad. I needed to stop being invisible." Richard nodded slowly. "Your mother and sister don't know you're here." "I know. It's going to be difficult. For everyone." "I know that too." Richard placed his hand on Ashley's shoulder. "So be brave. And know that even with all the mistakes I've made, I love you. And part of me is proud of you for being here." Tears burned in Ashley's eyes, but she blinked them away, not wanting to ruin her makeup. "Thank you, Dad." Richard walked back into the room. Ashley and Jennifer exchanged a look. "Ready?" Jennifer asked. Ashley took a deep breath, smoothed her dress, and lifted her chin. "Ready?" And with that, Ashley walked into the ballroom. She walked into the wedding celebration of the sister who had betrayed her. She walked into the party she wasn't invited to. She walked in with her head held high, her red dress catching everyone's attention, and an unwavering determination to finally be seen. What would you do if you were in Ashley's shoes? Would you have the courage to face your family like that? Tell us what you think of this decision in the comments. The story is reaching its most intense moment, and you won't want to miss what comes next. The ballroom was stunning. White lights hung from the ceiling, creating a starry sky effect. Tables decorated with white flowers and scented candles were scattered throughout the space. In the center was a dance floor where some guests were already beginning to move to the soft music. And there, at the head table, they were Brittany, radiant in her white wedding dress, her hair tied in an elegant bun, a huge smile on her face, and beside her, Matthew, the man Ashley had loved, the man who had broken her heart. He looked different, his hair a little shorter, a little more mature, but still recognizable. Ashley stopped at the entrance to the salon. For a brief moment, she considered turning back, simply turning around and leaving. But then she remembered. She remembered all the lies, all the times she'd been left out, all the times she'd felt invisible. No more. She began walking. The red dress moved with her, drawing attention. The conversations began to die down. Heads turned. Whispers began. Who is she? Why is she wearing red? It's not polite to wear red to a wedding. Ashley kept her eyes straight ahead, walking purposefully until she got closer to the head table. It was then that Carol saw her. Her mother's face instantly paled. She shot up from her chair, her mouth open in shock. Ashley, Carol whispered. But in the hall that was growing progressively quieter, the name echoed. Brittany turned her head. When her eyes met Ashley's, all the color drained from the bride's face. Matthew looked too, and Ashley saw recognition, followed by panic, flash through his eyes. "Hi, family," Ashley said, her voice calm but firm. "Sorry I'm late. Looks like my invitation got lost in the mail." The silence in the room was now complete. All eyes were on her. Ashley could feel the weight of each gaze, but she didn't flinch. Carol quickly approached, trying to take Ashley's arm. "Ashley, honey, let's talk outside." "No, Mom, we already talked outside 3 weeks ago. Remember? When you told me you canceled my invitation because it would be better for everyone?" Whispers erupted throughout the room. Uninformed guests exchanged confused glances. Brittany stood, her hands shaking. "Ashley, please. Not here. Not today. Not today." Ashley gave a humorless laugh. "Then when? Brittany, when would be the right time after 3 more years of lies, after you and Matthew have kids and I accidentally find out from a photo on social media?" Matthew also stood up. "Ashley, I know this is hard, but you don't know anything, Matthew." Ashley cut him off, looking directly at him for the first time. "But you don't know what it's like to wake up one day and find out your entire family has lied to you for years. You don't know what it's like to be erased from your own family history." Ashley turned to face the entire room. She saw her aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone who knew, everyone who was part of the secret. "How many of you knew?" Ashley asked, her voice echoing. "How many of you knew my sister was dating my ex-boyfriend and thought it was okay to keep it from me?" People looked down uncomfortably. Some avoided her gaze. Others looked genuinely shocked, clearly not in on the secret. An aunt, sitting near the front, raised her hand shyly. "Ashley, we just wanted you to not suffer." "Didn't hurt?" Ashley repeated, tears finally threatening to fall, but she held them in place. Do you think I didn't hurt when I found out the truth? Do you think excluding me, lying to me, treating me like I didn't matter, was better than simply being honest?" Brittany started crying. "Ashley, I'm so sorry. I swear I am. I didn't mean to hurt you. I fell in love, and I didn't know how to tell you." 3 years, Brittany," Ashley said, turning to her sister. "You had 3 years to tell me. 3 years where you could have been honest, where you could have given me the chance to process, to accept, to move forward the right way. But you chose to lie. And the worst part, you convinced our entire family to lie with me too." Carol stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "Ashley, please." I begged Brittany to tell me. But the more time passed, the harder it got. We made a mistake. A huge mistake. But it was because we loved you both and didn't want you to get hurt. "You hurt me far more with your lies than the truth ever could have," Ashley said, her voice breaking a little. "You made me feel crazy. You made me question my importance in this family. You made me feel invisible." Richard walked over, placing his hand on Carol's shoulder. He looked at Ashley with regretful eyes. "Your mother is right. We failed you, Ashley. We prioritized everyone's comfort but yours, and there's no excuse for that." Ashley looked at her father, and for the first time since entering the room, a tear rolled down her face. But she didn't try to hide it. Matthew finally spoke, his voice low. "Ashley, I know I don't have the right to ask for anything, but Brittany isn't to blame for any of this. I'm the one who broke up with you. I'm the one who wasn't honest about my feelings. If you want to blame someone, blame me." Ashley looked at him, really looked, and realized something. She no longer felt anything for him. There was no anger. There was no love. There was no hurt. Matthew was just a man who had been part of her past, but who didn't define her future. "I don't blame you, Matthew," Ashley said calmly. "You broke up with me. You moved on. That's fair. What's not fair is the whole family conspiring to hide this from me, to exclude me, to treat me like I'm too fragile to handle the truth." Ashley turned to Brittany. The two sisters stared at each other. Brittany was a wreck, mascara running down her face, her bridal bouquet lying on the floor at her feet. I came here today not to ruin your wedding, Brittany, Ashley said, her voice softer now. I came because I needed you to see me, for all of you to see me. I needed to stop being the forgotten sister, the excluded daughter, the inconvenient ex. I needed to exist, even if my existence was uncomfortable for you. Brittany sobbed. You've always been there for me, Ash. You've always been my sister. I just didn't know how to deal with all of this. Then you should have tried. You should have trusted me. You should have given me the chance to be your real sister, not just when it was convenient. Ashley took a step back, looking at the entire family one last time. I came here today not to cause a scene. I came to free myself, to stop carrying the weight of being the person you hid. That weight is yours now. You have to live with the choices you made. I've lived with the consequences for too long. She turned to leave, but stopped and looked over her shoulder. Happy wedding, Brittany and Matthew. Truly, I hope you're happy, and I hope you build a marriage based on honesty. Why lies? Lies destroy everything. And with that, Ashley began walking toward the exit. The room remained completely silent, except for the click of her heels against the marble floor. Jennifer appeared beside her, gently taking her arm. The two walked together to the door. When Ashley reached the exit, she turned one last time. She saw Brittany slumped in her chair, Carol comforting her daughter, Richard with his head down, Matthew standing there, completely lost. And Ashley realized something. She no longer felt pain. She no longer felt anger. She felt freedom. Freedom to finally have said everything that needed to be said. Freedom to have shown oneself, to have refused invisibility. Freedom to move forward, not as the victim of history, but as the survivor. Ashley and Jennifer left the salon together. The night was cool, the stars shining brightly in the sky. How are you? Jennifer asked softly. Ashley took a deep breath, filling her lungs with fresh air. I'm free. And for the first time in years, Ashley smiled. A real smile. The smile of someone who had found her voice, of someone who refused to be forgotten. The days that followed were strange. Ashley expected to feel remorse, guilt perhaps, for confronting her family that way. But what she felt was something completely different. She felt peace. The day after the wedding, Ashley woke up late. She had slept soundly for the first time in weeks. There was no more anxiety, no more doubts. She had done what she needed to do. Jennifer called around noon. Ashley, have you seen social media? No. Why? Everyone's talking about what happened yesterday. Apparently, some guests posted about Brittany's wedding drama. It's going viral locally. Ashley sighed. I figured this would happen. Are you sorry? No, not at all. Ashley finally checked her phone. She had dozens of unread messages, some from cousins, some from aunts, some from family friends she hadn't even known had her number. Most of the messages were surprisingly supportive. A cousin Ashley barely knew wrote, Ashley, I didn't know any of this. I was shocked by what happened. You were incredibly brave, an aunt wrote. Honey, I always thought it was wrong to keep this from you. I told your mother so many times. I'm sorry I didn't insist more. But there were also messages from immediate family. Carol had sent 7 messages, each more desperate than the last. Ashley, please call me. We need to talk. I know you're angry, but don't ignore me. Ashley, please. Ashley didn't answer. She wasn't ready yet. Brittany had also sent messages, 3 long messages where she apologized repeatedly, explaining that she never meant to hurt Ashley, that she felt horrible, that the marriage was ruined. Ashley read the messages, but didn't respond either. It wasn't until the 3rd day after the wedding that Ashley finally answered a call from Carol. Ashley, thank God. I was so worried. Hi, Mom. Daughter, we need to talk. For real this time. No avoiding topics, no protecting ourselves, just the 2 of us, being honest. Ashley hesitated. Part of her wanted to refuse, to keep her distance. But another part, the part that still loved her mother, despite everything, agreed. Okay, tomorrow, at the cafe near my house. at 3 in the afternoon. I'll be there. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for giving me this chance. The next day, Ashley arrived at the cafe 5 minutes late. Carol was already there, sitting at a table in the corner, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea. She looked like she had aged years in just a few days. There were deep circles under her eyes, and she was thinner, more frail. "Hi, Mom," Ashley said, sitting down. "Hi, my daughter." There was an awkward silence. The waitress came. Ashley ordered a coffee, and they stood there, unsure where to begin. Finally, Carol spoke. "I messed up, didn't I?" Ashley didn't answer immediately. She stirred her coffee, watching the steam rise. "You made decisions, Mom, decisions that hurt me deeply." "I know, and I have no excuses. I thought I was protecting you, but I was actually betraying you." "Why did you do this, Mom? Why did you prioritize Brittany over me?" Carol took a deep breath, her eyes filling with tears. "Because I always thought you were stronger. Ever since you were little, you've always been the resilient, independent one. Brittany has always been more fragile, more sensitive, and when she came to tell me about Matthew, she was terrified. She said she was in love, but she was afraid of losing you. And I chose to protect her. But who protected me, Mother? Who thought of me? Nobody. And that's my biggest failure as a mother. I assumed you could handle it, that you'd be okay, because you always are. But I didn't stop to think about how much it would hurt you. I didn't stop to think that you also needed protection, honesty, to be prioritized." Tears finally began to stream down Carol's face. "I failed you, Ashley. As a mother, as a protector, as a friend, I failed completely." Ashley felt her own tears burn, but she held them back. "You know what hurt the most, Mom? It wasn't that Brittany was with Matthew. It was that you thought I didn't deserve to know. That I didn't deserve to be part of my own family. That I was so insignificant that I could just be left out and no one would notice. You were never insignificant. Never. You are my daughter. I love you as much as I love Brittany. But you didn't treat me like that. You canceled my invitation, Mom. You literally erased me from my own sister's wedding." Carol covered her face with her hands, sobbing. I know. And I'll carry that guilt for the rest of my life." Ashley watched her mother cry. Part of her wanted to comfort her, to tell her everything was okay, but everything wasn't. And pretending it was would be a lie, and Ashley was tired of lies. "Mom, I don't know if I can forgive you now. I don't know if I can trust you again." Carol looked up, her eyes red and puffy. "I understand, and I don't expect you to forgive. I just hope that, in time, you can give me the chance to show you that I can be better, that I can be the mother you always deserved. Maybe, in time, a lot of time. I will wait, as long as it takes." They sat there for another hour, talking. Carol shared details Ashley hadn't known, how Brittany had begged them to tell her from the beginning, but Carol insisted on waiting. How Richard had tried to argue it was wrong, but Carol convinced him it was for the best. How the whole family was uncomfortable with the secret, but no one had the courage to challenge Carol. It was a painful revelation. Carol had been the architect of it all. She had orchestrated Ashley's exclusion, convinced everyone to participate, and kept the secret for years. When Ashley finally got up to leave, Carol held her hand. "Ashley, I know I don't deserve it, but you're still my daughter, and I still love you. More than words can express." Ashley looked at her mother. "I love you too, Mom. But love isn't enough when trust is broken. We'll need to rebuild that, and it will take time. I know, and I'll do whatever it takes." Ashley waved and left the cafe. She didn't know if her relationship with her mother could be restored. She didn't know if things would ever return to normal with Brittany. But she did know one thing. She would no longer accept less than she deserved. She would no longer be invisible. She would no longer allow people to treat her like she didn't matter. Ashley had found her voice, and no one was going to silence her again. 3 months have passed since the wedding. 3 months that have completely changed Ashley's life. The first change was the hardest. Ashley decided to put distance between herself and her family. It wasn't a complete cut, but it was clear and firm boundaries. She no longer went to Sunday dinners, no longer went to family parties, no longer would she pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. Carol called every week. Ashley answered sometimes, sometimes not. Their conversations were short, polite, but distant. Brittany had sent dozens of messages apologizing, asking for a chance to talk. Ashley read them all, but responded only once, saying she needed time and space. Richard was the only one Ashley kept in close contact with. He took her to lunch once a month, and during those meetings, they genuinely talked. He never tried to defend Carol or Brittany. He simply listened, apologized when appropriate, and showed that he was there for Ashley, no strings attached. But the most important changes weren't about the family. They were about Ashley. She started therapy, something he'd put off for years, always finding excuses. But now she knew she needed to process everything that had happened, not just the marital drama, but years of feeling less important, of accepting scraps of attention, of normalizing behaviors that should never have been normal. The therapist, a woman named Dr. Patricia, helped Ashley see patterns she'd never noticed before. How she always put others' needs before her own. How she was afraid of being annoying, of being too much, of taking up space. How she'd learned from a young age that resilience meant not complaining, not asking, not demanding. "You've spent your whole life trying to be the easy daughter," Dr. Patricia said in one session. "The daughter who doesn't give you any trouble, the daughter who always understands, but who took care of you while you took care of everyone else." The question stayed with Ashley, and she realized the answer was no one. She had spent so much time being strong for others that she had forgotten to be strong for herself. Ashley began investing in herself in ways she never had before. She enrolled in dance classes, something she'd always wanted to do but never found the time for. She began reading more, traveling alone, and trying new hobbies. She began to discover who Ashley was when she wasn't trying to please anyone. And surprisingly, she found that she really liked this version of herself. At work, Ashley began to excel in ways she hadn't before. She'd always been competent, but now there was a new confidence about her. She spoke up in meetings without fear of being wrong. She proposed ideas without waiting for everyone's approval. She took up space unapologetically. Her boss noticed, "Ashley, you've been different lately, more assertive. I like that." Ashley smiled. "Me too." She also began making new friends. People who didn't know her story, who didn't have preconceived notions or preconceived notions. People who knew her as this new version of Ashley, the version who made no apologies for existing. One of those people was Daniel. They met in a bookstore, both reaching for the same book at the same time. He insisted she take it. She insisted he take it. And they ended up laughing about it and having coffee together. Daniel was kind, funny, and thoughtful. He worked as an architect, had a dog named Max, and loved to cook. They began seeing each other frequently, and slowly, something blossomed between them. Ashley was honest with him from the beginning. She told him about Matthew, about Brittany, about her family. She expected judgment, or at least discomfort. But Daniel just listened, held her hand, and said, "You are incredibly strong for having faced all of this." "I don't feel strong sometimes," Ashley admitted. Strength isn't about not feeling pain. It's about feeling the pain and continuing to do so. And you did. You continue to do so. With Daniel, Ashley learned what a healthy relationship was. He didn't pressure her. He didn't play emotional games. He didn't make her feel small or invisible. He saw her. He really saw her. And he celebrated every part of her. But most important was the relationship Ashley built with herself. She learned to listen to herself, to respect her limits, to say no without guilt. She learned that being selfish wasn't bad when it meant taking care of herself. She learned that she deserved to be a priority in her own life. One afternoon, 6 months after her wedding, Ashley was sitting in a park, reading a book. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and she felt happy, genuinely happy. His phone rang. It was a text from Brittany. Ash, I know you asked for space, and I respected that. But I just wanted you to know that I miss you every day. When and if you're ready to talk, I'll be here. I love you, sister. Ashley read the message 3 times. She felt something in her chest, a mixture of sadness and longing. She didn't hate Brittany. In fact, she wasn't even angry anymore. She was just processing, healing. Ashley didn't reply to the message, but she didn't delete it either. Maybe one day she'd be ready to talk to Brittany. Maybe one day they could rebuild some kind of relationship. But that day wasn't today, and that was okay. Forgiving didn't mean forgetting. It didn't mean going back. Forgiving meant releasing the weight of anger, hurt, and resentment. It meant choosing peace over pain, and Ashley was choosing peace every day. She put away her phone and returned to her book. Beside her was a steaming cup of coffee, the sun warming her face, and a smile on her lips. Ashley had spent so much time trying to find her place in the family, trying to be accepted, to be seen, to be loved. But what she discovered was something far more valuable. She learned to accept herself, to see herself, to love herself. And that, Ashley realized, was all she ever needed. Not the family's approval, not Matthew's love, not Brittany's validation, but her own approval, her own love, her own validation. Ashley finally had found your place. And that place wasn't in the family home. It wasn't at the Sunday dinner table. It wasn't at parties where you had to pretend everything was okay. Her place was within herself, in her own strength, in her own courage, in her own truth, and no one could take that away from her, ever again. Ashley's journey teaches us something powerful about family, betrayal, and self-discovery. Those who share our blood won't always treat us with the respect we deserve. And it's okay to set boundaries, even when it means distancing yourself from the ones you love. Ashley learned that her voice matters, that her presence is valuable, that she never again has to accept being invisible to make other people's lives easier. She chose herself, and that wasn't selfishness, it was survival. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't making people apologize. It's freeing yourself from the need for their approval. It's finding peace, not in forgiving others, but in self-love. So I ask you, are you living to please others or to honor yourself? Tell us in the comments what this story made you reflect on. And if this story touched you in any way, like the video, subscribe to the channel using the subscribe button or the QR code that appears on your screen, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss more moving stories like this.